That first session we did was more of like a quick recap about flex basics and what we're thinking about, where we're going and what we're working on. This session, we're going to start getting into the tactical stuff. And I thought of no better first thing to go through than agent onboarding, right? Which I know sounds super boring and oh my gosh, Chris, paperwork, blah, that sounds boring. Yeah, it kind of is boring, but guess what? If you want to build something big and worthwhile and have lots of scale and lots of agents, you have to get good at the basics. And I promise you that if you're recruiting like an agent or two every couple of months, onboarding probably hasn't been a big pain in the butt for you. Right? If you're recruiting 3 to 5 agents a month or more, onboarding becomes a massive pain in the butt pretty quick. So this is going to be exciting. I'm excited to walk you guys through this, and I appreciate your time and jumping on here with me. We're going to talk about why onboarding actually matters for growth, right? So why these things actually impact scale in a very real way. We're going to go through a manual onboarding process in detail. So walking you through what this looks like, what we're thinking about, how this all looks. We've already got a Q&A here. Where do I get access to the replays and to the trainings? Jim, we'll send those to you in an email after the fact, my friend. So I got you. We're going to go through leveraging onboarding technology. The reason we're going to go through this is there's like 10,000 different solutions out there for automating a lot of the onboarding process. I'm going to walk you through a couple of different solutions, but in this day and age in 2025, the idea I want you all to have is, with the rise of AI and ChatGPT and Perplexity and Anthropic and all these systems, doing things manually should be easier because of AI. Doing things in an automatic fashion is like a no-brainer at this point. So I'll walk you guys through that. We're going to talk about steps to craft your own onboarding program. So if you already have one, awesome. I'm going to teach you how to automate a big piece of it today. If you don't already have one, I'm going to teach you how to create one from scratch, and it's going to be awesome. There's a couple of things that you're going to encounter in your business that you might not be experiencing yet because you haven't hit scale yet, and that's okay. The first is when you actually do start scaling and adding 3+ agents a month, you are going to get bogged down quickly with administrative tasks. I spelled that out as it's going to get weird. You're going to have to be spending more time doing administrative stuff than you are important things like training agents, holding them accountable, and all the other stuff that goes into building a successful team. You spend more time on administrative junk, right? Paperwork is not progress. Sure, it's moving the person forward, right? So their speed to first lead is increased or whatever it may be, but like that's not the highest and best use of your time as a team leader. You guys, in my opinion, the highest and best use of your time by far is coaching. If you're doing paperwork and administrative junk, you're not coaching your agents, which is why they're not selling as much real estate as they can, which isn't fun, but it's the truth, right? Speed to first lead. If you're not tracking this stuff, there are 2 metrics that I think are super important and why you should have a really dialed in onboarding process. Speed to first lead. How much time elapses between you hiring an agent and them taking their first company generated lead with you? Why does that matter? It matters because that a lot of the time with agents that we bring in, sure, they have their own personal production and stuff, but you can't control how productive that is. If you give them leads and hold them accountable and train them on how to convert those leads, guess what? You're now in a spot where you can control your revenue. So speed to first lead is a very, very important indicative thing of having a good onboarding program. If you don't have one, you're handicapping it essentially, right? The second being first closing. What I mean by that is they take a lead, they put it in escrow. What's the amount of time that elapses between their hire date and their first closing with you? Super, super important to track that because it gives you an indication of is your program and process efficient when it comes to actually onboarding and training agents. This one's really important, and I'm going to slow down for a second. Your agents are your customers, right? I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. Your agents are your customers now. If you're out of production entirely, which some people I advocate for, some people I don't. I love selling real estate, so I was like never fully out, right? But what I'm saying is when your agents come in the door, their experience with you dictates their expectation and dictates like their thoughts around how good of a place this is. If they sign up and they're all excited and then their onboarding takes a month and it's this super drawn out, cumbersome process and they're having to bug you to get stuff done, why would we measure that? Because it allows you to actually see the health of your business and project what's going to happen long term, which is all we can ask for. That is called peace, my friends. From their first interaction with your company, agents go through a smooth, easy process. Do we think that makes your company look good? Yeah, 100%. I'll tell you guys a true anecdotal story. I don't know if you've ever recruited an agent from another brokerage in your marketplace, but usually if you recruit someone and they have a good experience, usually other people will follow them. Has anyone ever had that happen? Let me know in the chat. I used to call them like magnets, right? Where they'd come over and people would follow them. If you have a super dialed in process and from the second an agent comes through and goes through your onboarding, if they're having a good experience, do we think that could impact that? Yes, because they haven't felt the value of being on your team yet. But if they're agent friends, when they leave and make the announcement on social, they're like, oh my gosh, Chris, how's ABC Realty? And you're like, dude, it's crazy. Like I signed up and like 10 minutes later, there was like an email in my inbox and I just went through a quick onboarding and I switched my license and now I'm going through training. It's crazy, right? It starts that experience from the front. We want our customers to go through the same experience as our agents. White glove, high level, 4 seasons level of service, right? Eliminating friction with something as simple as onboarding equals easy life. I'm going to give it to you today, right? What you do with it is totally up to you, but spend a couple hours on it and watch how much peace it gives you just not having to fly by the seat of your pants. And then this is another opinion, right? If you have a dialed in onboarding process, this is something that you could proactively share with your growth advisor or whoever you work with at Zillow. Hey, next meeting you have with them, hey, I just wanted to let you know real quick, we completely dialed in our agent onboarding process last week. We've got a dialed in process. Here's what it looks like. Here's how we're managing it. Here's how we're automating it. I just wanted to let you know that because like we're looking for more at some point and I wanted you to know what's going on in our business. Proactive communication like that, what do you think that does on the other end? They're going, oh, right? Ella's got her stuff together. And that's what we're looking for. So it gives you the opportunity to do that. Here's another ChatGPT original for you guys, just because I think it's funny. This is what it said a real estate team leader that would look like when their onboarding process is super dialed in. I don't know about you, but compared to the last one, that person looks much, much happier. It's the first thing that happens. The building is only as tall as the foundation is strong enough to build on. If you take the time to invest time, energy, and resources into making this thing kick ass from the beginning, guess what happens? You can scale a lot easier and you will save yourself pain over long periods of time. All right, so let's do some Q&A. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? You can use that Q&A button. I'll give you guys a sec to get in here. Let's see what we got. Deborah, thank you. You guys have been great. That's good. How many Zillow Academy courses do you have them take, if any? All of them. Like literally whatever they have, all of them. I don't think there's a bad scenario of them being overly educated, right? I would put them through literally everything that Zillow's got on there, including like live trainings that they do, just because it's so good. It usually takes longer than 72 hours. Is that okay? The pre-recorded stuff, at least, and Anna, you might be able to speak to this better than me. The pre-recorded stuff, I don't think is like 12 hours of content. It's probably like a half day. Set the bar at 72 hours. What you tell people, right? Like their expectation is usually what happens. Like if you say, hey, it should just take you a week, they'll take 10 days. If you tell them it'll take 72 hours, am I okay if it takes a couple of days? Longer than that? Yeah, but not a week, not 2 weeks, right? Can you send the training for agents for Zillow leads? Yes, Caroline, that's what we're covering next week. So we're going to go through it in detail and you'll get that as a download after that's next session next week after we go through it. How to draw the line on what is considered onboarding versus agent training? That's a fantastic question, Phil. My prerequisite for them to go through training, right? So to go through like the boot camp that I'll walk you guys through next week, my prerequisite was that they had their onboarding done. They couldn't schedule their actual training to show up and be in the classroom with me until they had their onboarding entirely done. So I put the onus on them of how fast they wanted to get it done so that that was like their golden ticket, so to speak. Does that make sense? So put it on them and use that as the golden ticket. They can't show up to training until they've done all of the onboarding stuff.